Hello, this is Jax Riley in the fifth video of this series that I have on how I come up with the parts to my songs, and also kind of being a not very deep instructional video on the actual instrumental parts. It's not a series about how to play instruments, but maybe if you do know how to play some of them, how to put parts together to make a song. So this is the fifth one, so it'll be about how I came up with the piano parts for my song. So Gussie likes to play the piano too. Anyways, for my song Ain't That Something. So this is a very piano-centric song, so I may have some weird camera angles here trying to show you what I do in the song. So when I had talked about before in this series about chords, so basic piano structure is kind of like if you have a C chord, that means it starts with the C basically. So, or wrong note, C, and then you have the third and the fifth note, so C, E, G, and that makes a C chord. Now, something that took me absolutely forever to figure out when it comes to chords and things like that is that chords are that way. They're not based off the order of the notes, they're based off of the notes themselves. So you can have like a C chord that is, this is your main C chord that like I would play if somebody told me to play a C chord, but you could also have a C chord that is E, G, and C, except it's played like, I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing, but it's played over here. So instead of, or like this, or also all three of those orderings were all the same chord. They were just played in different fingerings. Now, when I'm playing chords or writing music, a lot of times I'm just playing the basic form of them. The 1-3-5. To me that's the easiest. This just comes to my head. But most music doesn't really do that. It's kind of that's how, like, if somebody is like this musical theory savant and they know what a chord is or like what chord something is and they just randomly hear it in the song, they know the notes that's making that chord. That's how they can tell a lot of times. So with this song, I purposely wanted to make it a piano-centric song because it's kind of a little bit of a laid-back song, and I also tend to kind of think piano is my best instrument. I also took it I've been playing the piano for 13 years. It's the only instrument that I'll be teaching about that I actually took lessons for. So I took lessons for a long time, which it makes it even crazier that I'm not a better piano player than I am. So maybe I haven't been practicing every day of that 13 years, but I probably know the most about it theory-wise of the instrument I play. So let's jump into it. So with this song, that exact concept I told you about different orderings of chords is because I tried that out with this song. So normally what I do, and we'll get a little closer here. So normally what I do with like just playing chords in a song is I would go, I would play like this. So the opening part of the song kind of goes like this. So you see, it's really just a C chord and then D chord and then to A. Now that all looks different the way I'm playing it. That should be a little bit better. But that looks weird because what I do, instead of playing that first C chord like this, 1-3-5, I do it. I take that C and I put it an octave higher. So now instead of so I want to have like little trill. So instead of just playing, it's kind of like, and then that's a G chord, and same concept, just changing the chord shape. So normally it'd be right here, this time it'd be right here. I don't know if you can really tell what I'm doing there, but it's the same concept I was talking about before, where you're breaking up what you normally do here in this to make a little bit of variation in sound. So that's really what I do with the piano um, in that intro part. Now, like I said, this is a very piano centric song. So in the song, we go into the verse, we have acoustic guitar playing, the chords just strumming them straight up and down, and then you have a bass beat and, of course, the drum beat. But here with the piano, I kind of follow what the rest of the song does. With it, I'm basically just playing the same chords now. Instead of going back to this fancy version of C chord, I go back to the regular way you play it. So it would be, or let me show you a little bit better. So instead, I was playing this before, but now back to the regular way of playing it. So we get back into the, or I'll just sing. Hello, it's great to see you. Yeah, it's been quite a while. So what I'm doing there is just following the chords. We have that C chord, and then we go down to a C major seventh, which is just taking the root note and moving it down 1/2 step. So here, so you go, and there's that D major seventh chord. So a lot of this, when I kind of sort of wrote the structure of the song on the acoustic guitar after I figured out what the right chords were from playing here on the piano and figuring it out. So from there, I was like, I know the chords on the guitar. Well, let me just play the same chords here on the piano, and they obviously sound a little different, even from, they're not a straight up translation, but we go to this D minor seventh chord I really like, and I like to play around with it a little bit. In the actual song, I do little fills. So, if you're writing music, trying to arrange music, you just go listen to any song, country song, anything, and you will hear background runs of notes in the song, like kind of bouncing off the singing in the song. And this also was something that's weird, because if you go back to listen to my first song, first country song I made, put out back in September, called I Don't Know About That, the weird thing about that is I kind of made the entire instrumentation of the song before I recorded the vocals for it. And like in my mind, I wanted it to be like a really instrumental, heavy song, and like there's a lot of fills that happen during while somebody should be singing. Now if you go listen to a real song, you'll be like, you don't ever hear that. Unless sometimes in rock music or other types of music you hear that, but in country music, you will never hear some little fill or run from some instrument like an electric guitar or anything like during when somebody's singing. It'll always be the back half of the part. So, I lived and learned. So now on songs, a lot of times I'll be looking for little fills, and you'll hear this with the next videos about how I came up with the little fills. But most of the time, what I do is I'll listen to what I've recorded so far. At this point, it's probably just acoustic guitar, bass, and drums, and then I'll be like, well, let's listen to how it sounds. So, hello, it's great to see you. See, so kind of waiting till the end of the phrase to play that little part. And there's of course exceptions to that. But notice another little weird thing I do. This song is not, it's a little bit atypical in chord structure, because a lot of times I'll add a chord, like sometimes you'll have a set of chords in your chord progression that you go back and forth to in a verse. And sometimes you may make a chord different, but you have the same amount of chords in the progression. But see here, when we go in the second verse, It goes,
Yeah, it's been quite a while. Now tell me about what you've been up to.
see what I'm saying? So I'm adding, instead of 3 chords, it's 4 chords. And, before we go down to the A minor chord, and then right before the pre-chorus, we go up to the G. And that's just really a taste thing. That's just something that kind of went through my head when I was writing the song. As long as the phrase ends in the same amount of time, it really doesn't mess it up. So we go into the pre-chorus, which I've explained kind of what the pre-chorus is doing here. It's trying to drive the emotion of the song as far as possible into the chorus. So really, when I was recording this song, the only parts of the song where the piano is not playing, I believe, is just in the second verse. So this whole song has piano. So it's the lifeblood of the piano here. So we pretty much do the exact same thing in the pre-chorus.
Don't give me,
Sorry.
You tell me what do I wanna tell you about what we could have been, and then I hear myself say.
And then here is the chorus, and in the chorus, I pretty much just play the exact same thing the acoustic guitar is playing under it, just playing chords. At this point in the song, the piano for me is one of the few instruments that kind of it really fills two purposes in a song, in a country song. For me and my purposes for writing country music is most of my songs I've used the piano as an instrument that is more of an instrument of texture. It is a lot of times it's kind of playing what another instrument is playing. It's just adding to the mix pretty much. And really in the chorus of all right now, all 3 of the songs I have out, the next one will be coming out within the next month. Of all 3 of the songs you can listen to right now, all 3 of those kind of follow that same rule. And when you're putting a piano part in a song, a lot of times you listen to songs on the radio, and especially back in the day, that's what the piano was used for. They're putting it in the background of the song. It's trying to play what the chords are playing. But also for me, I use it for the little fills and stuff like that. And in this song, there is a piano solo as well, being piano-centric the song is. So we're going into the chorus here. So we go,
ain't that something? You got 2 kids and a dog and a beautiful home. Ain't that something? You met the love of your life, and I see why. Ain't that something? And even though it's not with me, I'm glad to see you're living out your dream.
and so that's the chorus. There is nothing extra about it at all. Pretty much playing exactly what the acoustic guitar is playing. So now, this is I do basically the same part as the intro. Here we're the intermediary part between the first chorus and the second verse. So this same thing as the introduction part, except it's cut in half. I ended up making it half as long, so you only play one half of that little chord progression I play at the very beginning of the song that we're talking about, where we go.
And all those times we were together.
So there you go. You play the exact same thing, or you don't really play the exact same thing, because in the actual song, I do not believe I'm playing in that spot. But I come back in the pre-chorus and play that same part as before, and the chorus is, of course, the same in the second one. So after the second chorus is the piano solo, which is the first piano solo I've made. And to this day, I still debate whether it was that good. It sounds good in the song, but every time I play it since then, I'm like, it doesn't have as much strength as it does in the recorded version. But I kind of like it. It sounded good to me when I first made it. It's not very complicated, but it doesn't really have to be. Just like if we'll learn in the next video about the electric guitar, I'm not this big electric guitar player, but it's the best instrument for playing solos. But the thing about solos is you really don't have to do as much as you think. You don't really have to be shredding to make a good sounding solo, or a solo that's you're really just keeping the interest of the listener until you get back to when the singing starts. It doesn't have to be something that, like, you'd hear Brad Paisley songs sometimes, and like the whole last 2 minutes of the song is just this instrumental breakdown, and it's like basically just a jam session for great musicians. Regular people just turn out of the song before you get to that point. And it doesn't have to be like that. A lot of the solos I have don't even last 20 seconds or 25 seconds of the song a lot of times. But you listen to most regular songs, and that's about all you hear. A lot of country songs don't even have solos of any kind. So it's not the type of part of the song you really have to overthink a lot. So coming up with the solo, I didn't really come up with it by playing around the piano. I kind of thought of it in my head and was like, well, let's see what it sounds like. And then I kind of liked it. So, you go,
even though it's not with me, I'm glad to see you're living out your dream.
So that's all there is to it. It's very short. I'm not really sure how short, like 20 seconds maybe, but it gets the job done. It takes you in that solo part, and it takes you into the bridge. So the bridge is really just 3 chords, and it's chords you've used in the song. So it goes.
Then she smiles and says, what about you? Well, I know I've got to tell her the truth. Well, I can't complain, I guess. I've always got so much to do. Ain't that something?
So it goes right back into that. So that's all there is to it in that pre-chorus or bridge part. So when you're coming up with the bridges and stuff, and like at this point, the acoustic guitar came up with that part, but it's really kind of, you're breaking up the song, and that's really the purpose of it for country music, at least. You're really you're trying to find a way to not write more music, or not kind of abuse the song. Because sometimes you hear songs and they have a really good chorus, but they do the chorus like 5 times, and like by that 5th time, you don't want to listen to that song again for a while. So there's a lot of techniques to do that, and kind of using this video as a way to talk about it a little bit. But a lot of times what I do is make a bridge. So you just take the chords you already have and pretty much, throw a minor chord in there or something like that, that you're changing up the order. It's the bridge between the end of the song and what you've already been doing. So not too much to that. Some songs, they also do something called intonation, which is what I do with my second song, Better Things to Do. So like at the end of the song, what I do is I just play the chorus again at the end of the song, except the key changes and it goes up one. So now it sounds different, even though it's the same chorus, it's just higher. And a lot of country songs do that. In fact, that's where I mostly learned it from. So that's pretty much what there is about the piano. Of course, maybe one day I'll teach a whole online course about learning the piano. I'm not sure if I'd be the best teacher, but maybe for what I do, I'd be the best teacher, I guess, for writing music. But I hope you learned something today. Thank you.